House Resolution Number 175, commending the Ka Iwi Coalition for saving East Oahu's Ka Iwi Coast. This resolution is offered by Representatives Ward and Hashem.
Thank you very much. Representative Ward.
Mr. Speaker, I move for the adoption of the resolution.
Thank you very much. Representative Hashem.
Mr. Speaker, I second the motion.
Thank you very much. It's been moved and seconded that the resolution be adopted. Any discussion? Representative Ward.
Speaker, I stand in strong and proud support of this
Strong
resolution.
support. Please proceed.
Mr. Speaker, we've heard of Keep the Country Country. For those who are on the North Shore, they can identify with that. But you must know also there's Keep Hawaii Kai, Hawaii Kai. Hawaii Kai was the first planned community by Henry Kaiser. There's been a number of onslaughts in Hawaii Kai that some of you know about, some of you don't know about, but I'm going to be honoring today the pioneers who kept Hawaii Kai from the beginning. Now let's rewind maybe 40 years and I'll give you the background and the context of what we're talking about. 40 years ago, there was a push eastward for development. The first was the Kahala Hilton. Well, maybe that was a little bit more than 40 years ago. But after that, it was Chin Ho who wanted to put a hotel at Queens Beach. If some of you are fishermen and you know the Ka Iwi Coast, Queens Beach is a beautiful piece of property, a growing that just has tremendous views. After that was Sandy Beach that came under attack. And today we have two of the original pioneers from Sandy Beach, and I'm going to ask them to stand, Mr. Phil Esterman and Ursula Rutherford. These two were key players in Save Sandy Beach. You may know some other notables who were at that time, Supreme Court Justice Mike Wilson. He's also one of the key members of this, as well as, I think, a number of other people you may or may not recognize with the name of Brad Shields, Joshua Fields, Gary Gill, and a number of people. But dear to all of us was Dave Matthews, who's not with us today, but who was a very, very strong spark plug. Okay, fast forward now. Well, no, remain standing, because you're standing on the shoulders of what in the beginning of this movement in Hawaii Kai, and a lot of people don't know about it. The beginning of the Hawaiian movement was in Kalama Valley, where you live, Phil, and where George Santos, the pig farmer, said no to Kamehameha schools. Now this is really going back maybe ancient history for some of you. But the beginning of the push for development in Hawaii Kai is nothing new, but started way back when, and the Save Sandy Beach catalyzed, motivated, and moved the population in a way that we've never seen before. So from that, fast forward 40 years, and I'm going to ask the beginning of the Keep, in other words, Keep Hawaii Kai, not just the North Shore, but it was Save Sandy Beach, and then it was No Cabins on Ka Iwi. And I'm going to introduce Elizabeth Riley. Elizabeth Riley was standing on the shoulders, and they made a coalition together called the Ka Iwi Coalition. And the Ka Iwi Coalition is what now has resulted in the Mauka lands of Ka Iwi and the Makai lands being non-developable, particularly in the Makai lands where there was a let me read the reso so I can be very clear that you understand what was going on. It said that in 2010, after a developer had purchased 182 acres of the Ka Iwi Mauka lands and threatened to build cabins on Ka Iwi, 1 year later, the Ka Iwi Coalition initiated discussion with the Trust for Public Lands to purchase the 182 acres. Then in 2015, the Ka Iwi Coalition launched a Save Ka Iwi Coast fund drive run by Island Wild grassroots volunteers pledging to raise the final $500,000 after the city and county had put in $2.5 million and the state of Hawaii $1 million. So with the founder of the Ka Iwi Coalition and the two energetic members of the Save Sandy Beach Coalition, together they went out with their hats in hand to collect $500,000. Now, I'm going to stop there because I'm going to yield to the representative in District 18, who's going to talk a little bit more about the fundraiser, and then we're going to wrap up with some more details. So let's first have a round of applause for these pioneers for the Saving Ka Iwi Coast. Ursula Rutherford, Phil Esterman, and Liz Riley. I now yield to the representative of District 18.
Thank you very much. Representative Hashem.
Speaker, I stand in support.
Support, please proceed.
Speaker, please join me in honoring Laura Ka'akua. I don't see her here, is she? Well, Laura is She's a graduate of Puno High School, and she went on to Boston College and a graduate of Richardson School of Law. She's the project manager for the Trust for Public Land. She has an extensive background, a legal background, and she was a valuable addition to this team, which she acted as the legal contact for the land purchase of the Ka Iwi Coast. She also sits on the board of the Livable Hawaii Hui, the present owners of the Ka Iwi Coast. And I will yield my time to the representative of Awãwamalu to introduce his constituents.
Thank you very much. Representative Lee,
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and strong support.
strong support. Please proceed.
Thank you. I'd like to introduce a few community leaders who are with us today and ask you to please stand. Kalani Kalima and his wife Kari. They're people who are not only new to this house, they've been around for a long time in a lot of issues. Kalani, in fact, led a coalition of residents coming together to enforce common sense laws to protect our natural resources, to protect our beaches, and most of all, to protect the community. It's been an effort that's been going on for years and something that I think we all take off our hats to and wish there were more people like him in all our communities around the state to enforce the will of the community and make sure that everybody's abiding by the proper laws. But in this case, they're here today because driving home one day, seeing on the side of the road a bunch of sign waivers, wasn't politicians, but it was people who were out there trying to raise awareness for protecting the Ka Iwi Coast, and immediately got involved. And not only got involved, but organized, I think, the single largest fundraiser held on our side of the island in many years, over at Olamana Golf Course. A number of our colleagues were there, but the amount of dedication and effort they were able to put into this at the drop of a hat is incredible. I wish we had more like them. We want to take my hat off to them and say thank you so much and congratulations. We wish we had more like you. Can we please give them a round of applause and welcome them to the House.
Thank you very much, Representative. Any further discussion on a resolution before us? Yes, Representative Ward,
Speaker?
second time, still in support.
As you can see, it takes a community, it takes an island to save Hawaii Kai, the Ka Iwi Coast. Even though Ursula is from Kailua, she cut her teeth on keeping the height limit of hotels, of condominiums. Phil Esterman dedicated his life to the East West Center and other conservation causes. He and I together at the East West Center before. And Elizabeth Riley as a role model for community activism, who now not only is of the Ka Iwi Coalition and Livable Hawaii Hui, she also is doing heiaus, she's doing the farmers and the other protection, which, by the way, I should mention, this is not a one-shot honor. This is an encouragement because we have 82 acres of farmland where the Camilo Louis farmers are, and there's 82 acres that in 9 years is going to turn into, is it going to be a subdivision, guys? We've got James, all of you know the Japanese American Institute for Management Science. That is a 10-year lease that's going to expire at 12 years. And then we have the Oahu Club. So there's a lot of things that are going, and I hope you understand now the context of how Hawaii Kai just wasn't sort of an instant protest. And I know the representative who was a councilman before knows how land in East Honolulu is very, very important. Mr. Speaker, before I end, I want to do a couple of shout-outs. One is to Ursula's daughter, who's visiting from the mainland. Leah, where are you? Leah Rutherford, would you stand and be recognized? Also accompanied by my legislative staff, Garvin Chun. Garvin, thank you for that. Also, Mr. Speaker, I want to shout out for Kendrick Chang. He was the youth director of, when we signed waived, he was there. When he asked for money, when he asked for volunteers, Kendrick was there. Kendrick is now at George Washington University doing good after graduating from Kaiser. So shouting out for him is very important. Last but not least, I don't think the $500,000 or $600,000 that was raised in 10 weeks, that's how much they had to raise in order to purchase this property after the state and the city put in $4 million. I think without one particular person who, like a match and a spark plug and a catalyst, sets this all off, Mr. Randy Ching, who after 10 days of the show came and wrote a check for $100,000. And those of us who were unbelievers suddenly became believers, that we can do this. We can do this. Having said all that, Mr. Speaker, you know why when I stand up and I defend the great lawn here, it's because I'm standing on the shoulders of all of these right here. So will all of you stand again, and members, will you still thank them for saving the Ka Iwi Coast? Please rise. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much, Representative Ward. Any further discussion, members? Yes, Representative Cachola.
Mr. Speaker, strong support.
Strong support. Please proceed.
This really brings back memories when I was in the city council. You know, when I got there, the city lost the case because they tried to develop high-rises in Hawaii Kai. Mauna Loa Associates is one of the developers, and Bishop State. So we lost the case, and the only thing to be determined are damages. And I was appointed by the council when I opened my big mouth and I said, let's settle to determine damages. And this case started way back in the late 80s. And I got in 2000, and I was appointed by the city council as well as the mayor, Mayor Harris at the time, to be the point person for both administration and the city council. They tried to downsone, zoning by initiative, everything down the line. In short, we were able to save $200 million for the city because we were able to let Ursula and Phil and others to make that land zone preservation or conservation. And I give them a lot of credit because they are really, really pushing hard to make sure the development at the Ka Iwi as well as Hawaii Kai remains to be open and not to be developed. So congratulations to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Representative. Any further discussion on the measure before us? Yes, Representative Tupola.
Just really quick, Mr. Speaker, in support.
Support, please proceed.
I just really wanted to thank the Kalima family, the Easterman family, Mrs. Riley, for all that you've done, and encourage you. I want to echo the sentiments of the representative from Kailua that we need more of you. We're so grateful for your sacrifice and everything you've done. I used to run Kamilo Nui Valley growing up. I actually still run every time I go home, and it's really like the last thing left. The last time I went out to Hawaii Kai and there was, a building in front of the heiau, it's like, there's nothing left to develop, but they still pop up buildings every square mile they get. So I'm just so grateful because there's really hardly anything left of what it used to be. And we're so thankful for people like you that would sacrifice and take the time and dedication to do something that you feel passionate about. Whether you live in that area or not, you're still fighting for something that a lot of us feel passionate about. So on behalf of myself and my family, we're so grateful for everything you've done. And we're glad that you're here today and congratulate you for all your efforts. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. It's nice. Thank you very much. Any further discussion? If not, member, let's go to a vote. This will be by voice vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. The motion is carried. House Resolution 175 is adopted. Representative Ward, could you please proceed with the presentation of the congratulatory certificates and lay?